This is the age of the multidimensional soul.
Hi there, it's Kelly here from Divine Alchemy Healing, and today I'm delighted to invite Linda, who's also known as LH Healing, to tell us all about her pendulum journey, how she uses it, and her work in nature. And hello, Linda, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much.
Good. So, how did you come to using a pendulum in the first place?
It's been a couple of years and I've used them in the past, but I've really gotten in it in the last, I would say, year and a half, 2 years, very solid. And I was actually going through a healing journey where I had had an accident back in 2000, and the bone had started to grow from my kneecap down into my tibia and was connecting. So I needed to have some major surgery and some plastic surgery. And it was 3 phases of that surgery. And I knew I needed to work on trying to figure out new alternatives for healing because nothing seemed to be working. And I was getting very, very desperate. I was reading every book I could find on healing and listening to audibles left and right all night long, and music, changing my music. My music even changed.
Wow.
And I'm amazed how that's happened. You know, when I went through my major surgery was like 6.5 hours long. When I went through that one, it was like my whole music totally changed. And
Wow.
my whole vibes changed. I'm amazed. But anyway, when I got into using the pendulum, I would just start seeing, what it is I needed to do. I thought it was more yes and no's and charts. I worked with a lot of charts, and because I'd done like the motion code, I was working with that, and
Yeah.
also another couple other ones that I've done in the last 20 years. And anyway, it was a journey. It's been a long journey, learning. And so the more I learned, the more I started to see how it was working in my life, how it actually was starting to heal my leg. And I wasn't really using pendulum. I never took classes. Just lately, now I'm like, oh, I want to see what everyone else is doing. So I've been taking a lot of classes, and it's like, oh, I'm putting that in my toolbox now.
Yeah.
I'm learning new things. So I really enjoy that part of it. But I started just taking the pendulum and putting it over my body, putting it over the pains that I have. And I would just sit there for, all day. Not all day doing it, but when I pick up my pendulum, and I'd be having it over my leg, and I just ask it to start healing my leg. I start calling on God. I start calling on my ancestors, my angels, my archangels to start coming in and helping me and working with me and showing me and teaching me. And the more I got hungry, the more I started getting fed. That's all I can say is that I was getting fed. And as I was getting fed, I was getting healed. And so the doctors were telling me after my second surgery, which is probably the worst one that I had, that it wasn't going to get any better, that this is how it was going to be. And that actually, we hear that all the time. We go to doctors when we get cancer diagnosis, or, we got autoimmune and this is what it is. I never believed that. I've never taken that word on whatever a doctor says. And it even makes me even more want to figure out how to heal myself.
Yeah.
And so I went out and I started dabbling into nature too. And that was amazing, because I would just sit there and I'd just start asking the spirits to just start bringing birds to me, showing me how the wind blows. Let the spirit of the wind show me how it moves. And it would move, and I'd just get fascinated and just be there for hours staring out the window at the birds and the wind and the trees and the nature.
Yeah.
And then I finally started going up into the mountains, and that's where I was like, oh, it changed my whole way of thinking of working with a pendulum.
Yeah.
Because I would take my pendulum up to the mountain, and I would just start asking to just start healing me and filling me from the roots of the trees to the bottom of the earth, to connect me to the earth. And as I looked up into the heavens, I'd say, and connect me to the universe, and just bring the healing and the restoration, and to make me whole, and to renew my mind, renew my spirit, renew everything in my life. Everything that's been taken from me to be restored. Restore each cell, restore each muscle in my body, every one of the bones. And as I did that, the pendulum would just go like crazy. I'm like, I think it was going to cut a hole in the tree. And so anyway, and then it would just calm down.
Yeah.
It would stop. And then it was like, I would just say thank you. And then I'd start giving gratitude to the spirits, like gratitude for my heavenly peers, gratitude to the universe, gratitude for healing me, gratitude for all the restoration in my life. And as I did it, the pendulum would just go again.
Yeah.
And then it would just stop. And then it was like, phew. And it was just a release in me. And so I kept to where I wanted to go up there every day. Every day I would go into nature, and I would be on crutches.
Yeah.
People thought I'd be in nature, and I'd have a big brace up on my leg,
Wow.
from my thigh down to my tib, the bottom of my ankle. And here I'd be on crutches, and I'd be taking my pendulum. And I'm like, I just want to get out in nature. I want to touch the trees. When I touch the trees, I feel the vibration of the tree. I feel it as soon as I touch it. I feel that on the rocks. I feel that in the water. I feel all of the nature around me. When I'm up there, it's like my vision even changes. I see nature in a different way. I start seeing more butterflies. I start seeing all the bugs. I start seeing the birds. Yesterday I was up there, and I had a deer I was driving up, and it just turned around and looked at me, and I thought, oh, that's a good sign. It's a good sign for me.
Yeah.
And then I get up there, and then there's just a major amount of butterflies just all around me. And I'm just sitting by the water and working with the trees and the rocks, and just feeling that energy in my hands as it's vibrating.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm more aware. I'm starting to where I'm just not out there in nature. I'm more aware of what is around me. I actually hear my footsteps.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I take groups up to the mountains now. I have a Connect to Nature group, it's meditation, and I take that group up to the mountains. Once a month, I take a group up there, and I have them grab pendulums. I bring a lot of pendulums. I have them with me, and I hand them a pendulum, and it's very, very fun to sit there and watch the women walk off to a tree, and they're at their own tree over there doing their own thing.
Yeah.
It's just very fun.
Oh my goodness. And that what you just said there, you were sort of doing a decree as we were talking almost, and if anyone wants to, they can pause the video and go back and get their pendulum and just join in with that, because what you said was so beautiful, and I could see your energy. You were like lighting up as you were saying it. It really, it was a very lifting energy, wasn't it? And you're living proof really of the work that you've been doing, aren't you, in terms of the healing that you've sort of come to through your journey, and how you work now is it's amazing and really inspirational. I guess if anyone isn't, we're not all living by the mountains obviously, but anywhere in nature is good to connect, isn't it? And you can call in that frequency.
Yes, I know. I take our groups too, and there's like 54 in the group right now. It keeps growing, but not that many come in all the times.
Yeah.
But I'll take them over to the lake, or I'll take them over to the park, and we'll go over there, and I will, not only that, I will grab the pendulums, and I'll say, okay, everybody, put your hand on the tree with me. And as we start all touching that tree, our pendulums it'll just be coming to a stop. And then everyone will start putting their hands on the tree, and then all the pendulums will start moving, all the pendulums. So it's amazing to watch how energy moves through everyone and through the tree, because trees have so much energy. They are so healing. I read a book recently, and it had to do about people with cancer, or if you're sick or depressed or whatever, if you just get in nature, you just go around trees, there's something that comes off that tree that brings the healing. And it really does. So I love teaching people and taking them out to the woods. And I have classes here. I teach classes here at my place.
Whereabouts are you again?
Say what?
Where are you in America? You're in America, I know that, but
I'm in Alaska for the
Alaska.
whole, and I'm in Arizona right now.
That's right. Yeah.
But I've been traveling too.
Yeah.
So like when I take the pendulum, I'll teach them different things. Like first how to use it. And I made a chart. I'll show you this chart. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This chart is basically yes, no, and counterclockwise and clockwise.
Yeah.
And this is how we'll start. And I'll just teach them, first of all, clearing their energy with the pendulum. Just clear your energy, clear your energy.
Yeah.
And once
I'm going to join you.
So once you're clearing your energy, and then it'll just stop. Mine goes back and forth.
Yeah,
and
same.
Stop. Boom, it's done. So now I know my energy is cleared. So I'll take that chart and I'll say, show me a yes. It's going to show me right now. I'll say, show me a no. It'll show me a no. Show me counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. There's counterclockwise. Show me clockwise. Show me what a clockwise is. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
And I have color charts. I've actually this winter, it was fascinating. I decided to take color charts and I go to the paint store and I'll go get the paint cards.
Wow. Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll have a chart and I'll have it in front of me and I'll use my pendulum, but I'll turn my paint cards upside down.
Right.
And I won't look at them.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it in front of me and then I'll ask that card, I'll spin my pendulum over it and I'll ask it, what color is this?
Okay.
And then I'll go to the chart.
Wow.
And I'll ask what color it is on the chart. And about 95% of the time, it's right, spot on. I'll flip it over. I'm like, wow, okay, it's purple. Oh, it's blue, it's green.
Yeah.
And the ones I don't get, then I'll put those back in the pile. Say, okay, now what are these again?
Yeah.
But it's been fun. It's been a really fun journey. And then right before I took off on my trip to Europe, at the end of August, I just got back from Alaska. It was a bad storm here in Arizona.
Right.
And I went out to go pull my wind chime off the wall, up the ceiling. And as I did, the rug grabbed my foot and I was thrown onto the ground. There wasn't anything I could do. I really messed up my hip.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk. I actually was on a walker and I was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to go to Europe now? How am I going to be in Budapest and Vienna and Prague and fly to London and not be on a walker? And then I started thinking to myself, you need to change your mindset. You need to not speak it, but start thinking and visualizing and saying out loud that you are not going to go in a walker. You're not even going to go on crutches, and that you will be walking. And so that whole 2 weeks, I spent my whole time manifesting my healing.
Wow.
And that did. And people will tell you that were here and watched me. They were watching me on a walker going to the pool. And then the next day, I'm over there on crutches up in the mountains doing my healing with my pendulum. And then the next day, I'm using nothing. It's amazing. It's amazing what you can do. And one of the things I did as soon as I fell is I went back on the time with the time machine that Eric Hunter had taught.
Right.
I had to go back to the traumatic time in my life.
Yeah.
And that's traumatic because it was like, oh my God, the pain was so bad that I couldn't even roll over in bed. I couldn't even get out of bed. So, for 2 weeks later to be able to walk out of it here, walk into the airport and to be fine was amazing. And, I just got desperate and I knew that if I really put my mind to it and put the laws of attraction into it and not focus on what had happened, that I would get my healing. So I would spend my every evening, let's get my pendulum. We are going to heal this energy. We're going to heal this injury right here, and we're going to make sure that we're walking, and that I'm going to have a wonderful time. I witness myself. I harmonize myself with my pendulum and with this pain, that it is going to go away. And I harmonize my body and all the energy that I have from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, past, present, and future, that there will be a complete healing in my leg. And the more I did that, the more it worked. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
You know,
and your thoughts are so important as well, aren't they? And they're aligning with, you know, you're doing your pendulum work and aligning your thoughts with the best possible outcome of you going to that trip and walking and being well. So
yes.
yeah, because it's so easy. I was saying to Rodney earlier today that and going back to your first point actually about doctors and nurses saying things that can be extremely disruptive to your energy system and your belief system and your body, and being able, like, I have a technique myself because I've had various health issues and transplants and things, that I sort of put a bubble around myself when I go into the office knowing that I know they're working for my best good in many ways, but if they do say anything that does not resonate or feels like that could be harmful, it just bounces back off, because I don't want to take in energy that's going to cause me to need to do more healing work, you know.
Right.
Because they're not trained in language, you know.
Right.
So they say things inadvertently, I think, you know, that can be damaging. But I think also with you, your commitment to healing is really in, you know, we don't see many people that actually go, right, I'm going to do this for myself and
Yeah.
you know, work on myself as much as I need to and do whatever I need to. And I think that's something, you know, when I first contacted you, actually, you said, I can't talk this weekend because I need to go into nature and do some healing. And you were spending the whole weekend doing that, you know, and I thought, oh, wow, I love this.
Well, you know what? It's like falling down. When I fell down, it was like I had plans. I had things that I had plans I wanted to do for myself, that I thought that this is how my week was going to go, that I was going to have some groups and do another pendulum class, and it was distractions. The distraction came in, I fell. And it's that distraction that took me away. I cannot tell you how many times, and I'm sure everyone else experiences it, that we have a distraction. My distraction was my plumbing broke. Okay. Right. So then I had to deal with plumbing. Then another distraction is I fell. Okay. So it was taking me away from what I felt like I needed to do in my life and my journey and my healings, and what I thought my plans were for that week. Well, obviously they were not my plans. So, and then I had to tell myself, I have to change the vibration that I'm around. I can't be around low vibration people. I find myself having to walk away. I have to be around really high vibration people. I can't be around distractions. It's very important what we say, what we hear. It really affects our whole being, you know. It lowers our vibration. So when I'm around someone and they're talking about their cancer or their illnesses, and they're so focused on it, they're speaking it out into the universe, they're amplifying it. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. So it's so important to pay attention to what we say, pay attention to what we're hearing, pay attention to what we're seeing. You know, I don't turn on my TV very often, and I don't watch the news, and I literally turned off my family Facebook because it's just too much. It's too much. There's too much media in it, and I'm getting caught in that illusion like everybody else. I was getting caught in that illusion with the news, And I needed to take myself back and say, you know what? I need to see what I need to do here in me right now, because that wasn't feeding me. It was taking all the energy out of me, squeezing everything out of me, you know. And it's so important, so important to be around really high vibrational things in our lives. Really, really important.
You have, I'm the same, you know, Frog and I, we never watch the news really. We pick what we want to watch if we found something interesting. But say, you know, someone has, for whatever reason, they've heard some news, or, you know, they've had something disruptive in their life. What would you use as a sort of command or a decree for clearing your energy? Or
We'll do it, right?
I'll do it with you. Yeah.
This is something that I just was dealing with something the other day, and it was very disturbing, and it was affecting my energy, and there was nothing I could do about it. Okay, I'm powerless over it. So I started speaking these commands.
Yeah.
And I started saying, heavenly peers, ancestors and loved ones, angels, divine, please work to help me reverse all the thoughts that I have heard in the last day. Help me to neutralize all the fear that I have heard in the last day. Help me to be able to cleanse my mind, to renew my mind, to bring healing and restoration and restore my mind, restore it, and bring in the peace, bring in the love, bring in the healing. And we thank you, Spirit Guides. We thank you for what you're doing in everyone's life. And we thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, that felt nice. Yeah.
So I know, even like at nighttime, I can't tell you how many times I was doing over this in my head. Okay,
Right.
I need to cleanse my mind, cleanse my mind, cleanse my mind, restore past, present, and future. Past, present, and future. Restore, restore, restore. I would dream this. I would dream restoring.
And are you using your pendulum when you're doing that? So are you laying in bed and sort of doing it over you, or?
I do, and I keep my eyes closed. I don't want it to hit me between my eyes.
No.
So I keep my eyes closed.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things, I got to tell you this. When I was on the plane, this was interesting, because I was, my last day in Prague, I was able to hear your tape that you did with the interview with Eric. And you were talking how you were working with this young couple, and he was talking about some of the commands to use.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, because I don't know why, it just stuck with me at the time. This couple came in, they were in front of me. The baby was hysterical. The mother was so stressed out. And the dad was trying to do everything he could to like make it all work. It's like, you could tell they were very nervous. They were new parents. The baby was only 4 months old. I found I was only 1 day off. It was 4 months and 1 day. And anyway, I decided to pull out my pendulum, and I thought, this mom is not connecting to her baby. I feel it. I feel that this mother is really struggling with this baby. So I pulled out my pendulum and I said, oh my God. I said, just connect this mother with her baby. Just her. I want to neutralize all fear. I want to neutralize all anxiety. I want to see peace. I want to see love in this family. I want to see such a bond between all three of them, that it'd be just a very pleasant trip. It was 10 and a half hours on that plane, right?
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, just neutralize it. Just harmonize this whole family. Harmonize the whole plane.
Wow.
Let this be a peaceful trip. Do you know that was the most peaceful flight I ever had? That baby slept the whole time.
And then, what a gift.
Yeah, and then about halfway through it was about 5 or 6 hours, they were holding the baby, and the baby was just staring at me and smiling. And I thought, that's the energy. That's the energy.
That is such a beautiful story. And so, you know, it again, people might think, oh, I do some pendulum work on myself, or I heal people that come to me, or friends and family, but actually using it out and about, in your everyday experiences, whether you're on a train or a plane or a ferry, or you might be somewhere, I don't know, in a dentist waiting room, and you can tell everyone's feeling a bit nervous and things like that. To be able to
Yes.
just use your pendulum, and not worry about personally, I don't worry what people think. I'm long past that, but I think it's such a gift, isn't it, to be able to do that.
It is. I used to tell everybody, oh, you're going to think this is crazy. And I'd be saying, oh, you're going to think this is crazy. You know what? I have stopped saying that.
Yeah.
That you're going to think this is crazy.
Yeah.
No, this is a gift.
Yeah.
This is not crazy. This is a gift that we're all allowed to have and use. It's a gift. So I have been in places where I've had people ask me, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm feeling the tree. And then they'll go up and they'll put their hand on the tree like, well, after a while you will feel that energy.
That's it. Yeah.
From the roots of the earth all the way up to the universe, you will feel that energy.
They're
really
so grounding as well, aren't they, trees? Like, I'm definitely a tree hugger, I'm out there, I want to touch them. And I just, there's something very calming, the peace, the solidness, and I think the tree's ability to help you ground as well and be in that present moment, which is what you were talking about earlier, us being more in the present moment and not being, sometimes we're not even aware that we're doing it, where, maybe we're out on a walk or we're going and doing something, but we're thinking about something that happened. It could be a day ago, a week, a month, a year, or we've gone out into the future because we're thinking, oh, I've got to get this done today. I must do the shopping. I've got to do this bit of organizing. And we're not being in the present moment, are we? Right. And I think, it's almost like, I was going to say, it's like an escapism of being present in the moment in some ways. Again, not necessarily conscious, but we're just letting our mind run away with us. Yeah. And then we're not enjoying each moment of each day, So it's,
I know when I was in Prague, I went over to this huge tree. It was in front of this church that was built back in the 1600s, 1700s. And it was like, I had to touch all three of them. And it was like, as soon as I went up to this humongous tree, it was like, not only was the energy so strong in my hand, it felt like a vibration bowl in my hand. Oh, wow. It was vibrating in my head. Yeah. It was so powerful. It was so strong. The energy was just connecting me. And I was just asking it to connect to the earth, connect to the universe, to pour out its energy upon me, Wow. And it's just amazing.
Yeah. And highly suggest anybody, where there's trees everywhere. I mean, even in cities, most places have got trees somewhere, haven't they? Or they've got a little green space or a park or somewhere that you can go. Make it your mission this week maybe to go out and connect with the tree if you've never done that before. And as Linda says, the healing energy from a tree is just something else, isn't it? I can't think of anything that is sort of similar, really.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to say was that on trees, there's trees that have more energy than others, and bigger the tree, the more roots it has, the more it's connected with other trees. They're very powerful in their energy. I go to trees that even have like holes in them, that the animals have got holes, because those are trees that have really had to go through a lot. They're very sturdy, they're hard, they're full of energy. And those are the ones I try to find. The ones close to the waters are the ones that I try to get, because they're connecting with the other energy right there.
Yeah.
And I go to the water trees, the ones that are along the river, the ones that are along the creek. It's amazing. It's amazing to feel the difference, because I can, and I do. You will find me. I'm in town. I was in Budapest, I was in Prague, and I was in Vienna, and I was walking down the sidewalk. It's like, oh, there's a tree. I got to stop. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I did that when I was in Thailand. It's like, and it's like, I'm on trains, and I'm like, I see things go by, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could touch that tree. That's a special tree right there. I can sense it. I can feel it.
And I guess, you can connect with it. You can't maybe physically touch it, but you can definitely connect with its energy. Yes. If you see a tree that you like, just make that connection energetically.
Yes.
So, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful in some of these countries because they are poisonous trees out there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We have a tree called the yew tree. Have you got that in America, the yew tree?
I don't think so.
It's quite an ancient tree, but it's weirdly, it's poisonous to horses. But you often find them in graveyards, and their wood is seen as sacred, and they have their own energy. They're harder you can't really get to the trunk of them because the way they grow, it's like lots of prickly leaves coming out, but they have a wonderful energy. We've got a little graveyard up the road, and Frog and I take our dog through the graveyard on a spooky walk, we call it. And there's something about the energy of just being in there it's very sacred, it's a really beautiful feeling. And although you can't physically touch them, you can, again, you can just put your hands near them and get that energy as well. And then, so do you ever, well, you said you did actually, didn't you? You often have a hand on a tree and then you're using your pendulum as well for healing or
yes.
Like yeah.
And sometimes I have my back. It just depends. Like I might be sitting between a tree, between the tree, and leaning back on it. But most of the time, I put my hand on it, and I can just feel the energy of the tree. It's amazing. I like yesterday. It was like, oh my God, my fingers are tingling so strong. I thought, I don't want to leave this tree. This feels wonderful, and I needed that. I just needed to I go up there when I need to get grounded. I go up there when I need to get healings. I go up there when I need to just clear my energy and just connect again. One of the things that I did a while back was that I took my pendulum, and I have a pendulum board, and my pendulum board told me, and I believe this because I've always felt like this for the last 25 years. It was like, you need to heal yourself and then heal others.
Yeah.
I need to love myself. Yeah. I mean, really love myself.
Yeah.
Love others. And I've been trying to live that life, and help people, help others.
Yeah.
Love others and heal others. It's so important. It's just not for us. We're supposed to give out what we learn, and like you give out what you learn.
Yeah.
And out what he learns. And it's amazing.
It's such an important point to heal ourselves primarily, because a lot of us, especially if you've got a bit of healer archetype in you, you want to heal others and help others. But it's, even in things like Reiki, when they teach you the first degree is all about healing yourself, and there's a reason for that. Right. It's really important, because then you can be more loving and more giving because you've got the healed energy yourself. And I know it's a work in progress. There's always things that we can work on, isn't there? And I think also when you were saying, so when you were saying about the trees, I was thinking about this term that is when I trained in EFT, which is a tapping technique. There's a lady called Sylvia Hartman, and she talks about energy nutrition and how we're often lacking energy nutrition, and that could be colors, or it could be nature or animals, or all sorts of things, different frequencies, crystals, and it was making me think of the trees are giving you energy nutrition that we can't really get from anything else. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly.
Yeah.
I usually go up with a pouch of my crystals and stuff. I take all different ones.
Yeah.
And bring the whole pile in my bag, along with my binoculars, so I can look at the birds.
Wow.
So it's amazing. It's just amazing. So yeah.
I'm very much every morning I go out and walk the dog for an hour and a half. That's my beginning of the day. And I joke that it's my sanity, to be outside in nature. And I'm often utilizing some breathing techniques, and I might do some meditation, or I might just really focus on the surroundings of where I am and what I'm feeling. And I feel like it's like a reset, getting me ready for the day ahead to be outside in nature.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like for me, I need to, like, if I have something big going on, I have to get up into nature.
Yeah.
I have to focus. I have to change my music. I have to get into my meditation. I have to work with my vibration bowls. I have to work with my drum. I have to work with my cards. It's amazing because it seems like as time is speeding up, these things are becoming so natural, and they're becoming more part of what I'm doing in my life to bring more healing and more peace and more understanding into what I need to do to change, because we all have to go through a shift. And it took a major shift when I had to have that surgery. It was life-changing.
Yeah.
Very life-changing, because it was 2.5 years of grueling pain and being disabled.
Yeah.
So
and you don't realize, do you, when you're well and relatively healthy, what a difference it makes when you haven't got your full health.
Right.
And I think I always say one of the most positive things about going on a health journey is you never stop being grateful for the health that you recover. Like I had 4 years of very, very limited vision. I literally had a pinhole vision. I used to have to use a magnifying glass to peer at everything if I wanted to see what something looked like. And the day I got my vision back, in that moment, I just thought, I'm never going to take my vision for granted again. Even seeing litter on the ground, I don't mind. I can see it. It's sort of like I'm so glad that I've got the ability to see that now. It did. My partner at the time did say, because I looked at him and I went, "Oh dear, you look haggard." That was my first comment. Because what I'd been, I just couldn't see at all. I could see his outline, and that was that, really. But yeah, other than that little comment that I made, still to this day, I think, when you have these health things that go on, and you realise how much we take for granted, and then you do the work, you go on a journey, and you learn so much. And like you were saying, you've gone on a complete journey that you probably weren't thinking you were ever going to go on to that extent.
No.
And it changes you, doesn't it?
It did. I mean, I thought, I'll be back in accounting in no time. I don't want to go back to accounting. Nope. I want to get back into healing. I want to do healing, more healing.
Yeah.
And teaching. I feel that that's where my call is right now. Teach others, heal others, love others. That's where my calling is right now. It's not about the gerbil wheel. I've been on that gerbil wheel. I had the job. It was the 40, 60 hour a day job doing accounting, and then making money, spend money. And what did I have to show for it? I had that, but I had no peace in my life. There was no peace. There was so much stress, so much anxiety. And now that that's gone, it's like there's so much peace here. That anxiety is gone. There is no fear. It's fearlessness now. It's living without fear. It's totally living in love and forgiving. I mean, that was a big part too. I had to, when I was going through this with my pendulum, I had to forgive some people. And when I released them and let them go, it released me too. And then I started receiving more healing, more peace. I went from 13 medications to now 2.
Wow.
I had to take 3 different medications to try to sleep at night, to close my mind off.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There is no medicines anymore. I can lay my head on the pillow and I can put myself into using my pendulum every night. It's like, well, pull that pendulum out and I'll do a clearing on me and, just renewing my mind before I go to sleep, asking for wonderful dreams and visions as I sleep and have peaceful sleep. It's just totally different. Totally different.
That's a really good point actually as well, because I think clearing at night time, you've gone through the day and maybe you've had to interact with various people, and maybe someone has got a corporate job or something, that's quite stressful to get to or get back from. To actually clear your energy field before you go to sleep at night, and ask for a nice restful night's sleep is that's a really good thing to do.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how many times I'm like, I'll turn off the light and it's like, oh yeah, get my pendulum.
Yeah, get the pendulum.
Let it out. It's right on the side of the bed there, and just start doing some commands before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Just I want to be totally pain free. When I went to the doctors, they told me I needed this shoulder needed to be replaced. I needed to have a shoulder replacement. I don't need it now. I don't.
Look at that.
Because I took that pendulum and I was doing this over my shoulder and doing it over my leg and doing it over every time I have an illness. One of the medicines I'm taking makes me a little ill that I just started, and so I take that medicine, I take it, and then I'll just start commanding that it just resonate with my body, resonate this medicine, harmonize this medicine to my body, make it work the way it needs to work, bring that healing. So
that's really interesting. I spoke to Rodney a little bit about doing something similar today, and I think also taking out any negative side effects of the medicine in the body.
Yes.
One, isn't it? Really amazing. And I it's interesting because there's a part of me, because I have to take immune suppressants, that I will never do this because I have to respect my donor who gave me a kidney, but there's a part of me that's like, could I emulate the medicines and just have the frequency of them? But currently I put them on a Metatron's cube chart before I take them, so that they're sort of harmonized to a sacred geometry of Metatron's cube, and to be fair, I don't really feel any side effects from them. I know a lot of people who take immune suppressants, they really do, but I don't. I'm not aware of any. So I've always felt like, they're just these are doing me good. They're keeping me healthy and keeping my kidney function. But
right.
Obviously, we have to say, just at this point, we're not giving medical advice to anyone. Don't just stop taking your pills.
I was going to say, just because I went off all my medicines, don't go off all yours. You make sure you go through a doctor, because I've had a couple of people that I've worked with pendulum classes, and I'd say, you got to promise me that you're talking to your doctor and that he is okaying you to get off these medicines. I don't want you to not get your medical advice, because we do need that medical field. Of
course. Yeah, I think it has a part to play for sure, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was amazing. I spoke to my doctor when I was up in Alaska, and she was just amazed because of all the healing. She wanted to know more, and she actually pulled me to the side and says, wow, I want to do this. I want to start a group, with pendulum. But she goes, I don't want to put my license in jeopardy. And I'm like, I was trying to tell her, well, connect to this or that, or go read this person or that one and start learning more about it. But I, even in Mayo Clinic, I noticed that I'm starting to see, when I was in the hospital for those 10 days, they're using aromatherapy. They're doing different things that they never would have done in the past. So they are moving in the direction.
Yeah.
And I wish they'd bring the pendulums in. I really do. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
I used to go to I used to go to hospitals and I used to pray for people. I used to
Yeah.
do hands-on healing.
Wow.
But what's the difference between this? You
Yeah.
know?
No, there isn't when we're talking about energy. And I do think like I work with all my clients with a pendulum, and I never preface it or say, oh, this might look a bit odd, or I'm just going to do this. I just start doing it because I don't give them the choice, really. I'm sort of like, right, we're going to do this now.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most beautiful things about pendulum work in the energy field and working on the energy bodies, for example, is that there's no needing to go back and visiting trauma or any side effects. No one ever starts crying, or unless they're crying with sort of relief and joy, but they're generally, it's quite the only side effect is sometimes they feel a little bit tired afterwards. They don't seem to, like some of the therapies I've trained in over the years did, especially analytical hypnotherapy, took you back to traumatic events, which even when I was doing it, I was thinking, I'm not sure this is a good thing, because you're retaking someone back to an event and they might not experience it exactly the same, but it's still going to be traumatic to them. And
Right.
it's hard work, whereas you can pick up a pendulum and just release the old energy if you want to, or you can go back there and release it from that point, but they're not having to go there in their mind or anything. So it's a really lovely, simple technique, isn't it?
It is. It really
Yeah.
is.
And
Yeah.
it's, for someone who's unwell as well, like a lot of therapies are going to be quite tiring. Whereas this, you could just do this, and it's, well, I was on dialysis, and I was sort of picking up the pendulum and just doing stuff really simply to just keep me going. And even in my recovery from the transplant, that's when my main sort of pendulum, like you, just a few years ago, I suddenly was drawn towards this in a way
Right.
that I hadn't been before. But it really, it made such a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
what I do, another thing I do is I'll take the pendulum charts and I'll make a journal. So I'll do a pendulum chart on me, for when I'm doing healing or on other people. And then I'll date it. And then I'll do some more pendulum like later on with the chart.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I've noticed that I'm doing more of, and I have, and it was before I met Eric, and I thought it was amazing. After I saw his teaching, I thought, wow, he's doing it too. Doing commands, that I would be saying those commands to myself. I would spend a lot of time up in Alaska because, plenty of light up there. It doesn't get dark in the summertime.
Yeah.
And I'd be outside and I'd be just like in the trees.
Wow.
And I'd be just out there, speaking commands over my family, over my health, over my being, over having things happen. I was able, I had a couple of business deals that sales that were like, I wasn't sure if they're going to go through. All of them went through,
Yeah.
all three of them. And it was amazing. It all worked out for the highest good of all.
Yeah. And that's what I love, is always using that phrase.
Yes.
Means that you're not adding into your own karma or anyone else's for that matter, because you're only asking if it's for the highest will and good of everyone, aren't you? So yeah, it's lovely. I know you've got a card that you pulled from what was it called? The Oracle.
It's called the Mystical Shaman.
Oh yeah.
Oracle cards, and it's by Alberto, and it's also from Colette. And I've been really getting into cards, and I've been in cards for quite a bit.
Yeah.
Years, and it just seems like when I pull cards, I always seem to pull a card over and over again, and it's like, okay, I get it. This is the card I'm supposed to be focusing on.
Yeah, just to confirm, is this one?
Yeah. So I pulled this card before we even started. I'm not sure if you can see it. I pulled this card. Can you see it?
The Time Master.
Yeah, the Time Master.
Yeah.
So I pulled it before we had this session, before we got on this interview.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, well, I want to pull one for everybody watching. So I shuffled my deck really good, and lo and behold, I pulled the same card again.
Yeah.
So obviously, this is the card that we're supposed to be focusing on.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, I'm not going to read all this, but it talks about time and how we as humans in our minds, we look at time in our events in our lives, and how our time becomes illusioned, like we're going to run out of time, or that we have all the time. Like we see teenagers these days, and what do teenagers think? They're going to live forever, just like we used to. We're going to live forever. God, nothing's going to happen to us. But you know what? Life is short. We never know. We never know when our time is going to be up. And it's that illusion, that we live in. But it's just like a ticking clock. It just goes and goes back and forth. It's always contracting, and it's pulling back. This is how time is. It's never a pattern. It's a will, past, present. It's past, present, future. It's a will. It's going in every direction, just like the wind, right? Time is just like in our minds. That's the illusion in our minds. And the thing is that this card just talks about how our minds become so logged and just so confused inside, so packed with like a log jam, that we're stuck. That we start seeing only one thing. We think we only are focusing on the bad things that happened in the past, or we think if it was only like that again. or we're like, oh, this is what my future is going to be in. So now we're wasting all these minutes, all these seconds, all this time, and we're wasting it. We're wasting it thinking about what's going to happen in the future. And don't get me wrong, let's dream about the future. But let's don't live in the future, because it hasn't happened yet. And same thing with the past. You can think about that divorce. You can think about the sadness or tragedy that happened, but it's in the past. We have to live in the now. And that's what this card represents. It was upside down, and it talked about that we have to live in the now. And when we can live in the now, that's when we're going to start seeing all this happen, this future, these things being able to come to pass. Things are going to start working in our lives as we start going through the journey. If we can live in the now, get out of the past, get out of the future, and pull it all together and just live in today. Because today is just promised for right now, just right now. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So important. It is so important. Yeah.
And would you say, like, I know I've got a deck called the Psychic Tarot by John Holland, and sometimes I'll pick a card, and whatever the message is, I'll either do some release work if it's like a block or something that I want to release, or I'll do some increase work, increasing the energy of, if it's a nice card saying, joy or something, I'll increase the joy energy. Is that how you work, or do you work differently? Or
I'm going to take my pendulum right now.
Yeah. Should we do this together?
Yes, and I'm going to pull this card, right?
Yeah.
Pull this card. So I am going to talk about this card.
Okay.
As we harmonize ourselves with this card.
So everyone can join in with this if they wish to.
I'll try to pull this up a little bit more so you can see it.
Yeah.
Other side, where am I?
Yeah. I know, because you're mirrored, aren't you, on the thing?
Like, wait a minute. It's somewhere. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
So, heavenly peers, divine archangels, ancestors and loved ones, spirit guides, universe, divine, all the gods, please come and resonate with us with this card right now, the Time Master, as it speaks to each and every one of us, how it brings in restoration and healing and restores our minds, restores our lives, restores the DNA, and releases everything from the past and brings into balance and strengthens our ability to live in the now. Bring us into alignment now. Cleanse our minds, cleanse our minds, just correct our thinking with our past, present, and future, that we can live in the now, that today is a new day today. Tomorrow is gone and the future is not here yet, but let's just live in the today. Thank you, Spirit Guides. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for that peace. Thank you for that love. Thank you for that healing. Thank you. Thank you for using us as vessels to be able to teach, to train, to love, and to heal. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, that was good.
I was going to say, I feel that all the way up the back of my neck.
Yeah. Yeah, really lovely. Really lovely. Oh wow, thank you for that. That's so nice and so different, really, you know, by picking a card. And you know, that set looks amazing. I have to say, I'm going to be looking that up. Adding to the collection. Really
I love
beautiful
this
artwork.
Yeah, get that deck. It's a good deck.
Yeah, I really like Colette Baron read. I haven't actually got any of her decks, but I listen to a lady who reads from a lot of her decks, and they always resonate. So yeah, really, really interesting. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we wrap this video up today?
I just want to thank you for having me on, because I am not, I don't have degrees, but you know what? I have a gift. I have a gift, and I just want to share it, and I want to be humble too when I do it. When I teach, when I train, and when I work with people, it's out of humility. It's just being humble and out of love.
You have such a lovely energy, Linda. When you speak that, you can really feel that coming out as well. So do you do any work for, if anyone wanted to contact you, do you take clients on or do anything like that? Or is it more your groups and things?
I do. I have a lot of groups. I have a beginners metaphysical group that I just started, and I have a connect to nature group, and I have a camping group, and I have a water arthritis group. So I'm a little involved in some things that I don't do every day, but at least once a week, one of those things happen. But I do healings, and I do work with people, and I do it on a donation, whatever they want to pay. That's how I look at it. Whatever they want to pay. And they can reach me through my Facebook page, or they can reach me through my Pendulum LH at email.
Okay, we'll drop that. You can message me that later, and we'll make sure we put up all the right links for you, so that if people want to get in touch, they can. Basically, Linda, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and you're such an inspiration with your healing journey, and your commitment to wellness. So thank you so much for sharing all of this information. I hope everyone enjoys the video, and please give us a like and a subscribe if you'd like to see more of this content. We've got more guests coming up, and we'll say goodbye to you for now, Linda, but hopefully, we're always happy to do another YouTube video with you if you wish to later on. So we'll say goodbye to everyone, but thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.